We are recording.
I was going to say something
River
about
Township Committee meeting, May 15, 2014. Members present: Bayleaf.
Yes.
Milioti. Yes. Adams.
Yes.
Fleury.
Yes.
Torriello.
Yes.
Adequate notice of this meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meeting Act by mailing the schedule of the Township Committee to the Express Times and Newark Star Ledger newspaper, posting a copy on the Township Bulletin Board, and filing a copy with the Township Clerk. We're going to go into executive session regarding...
Can I please have a motion to go into executive session to discuss contract negotiation, special counsel, RE employee investigation, to discuss opening the RFQ responses for insurance broker, personnel matters, police and court, and confidentiality of personnel matters, including Recreation 501c3, and to discuss litigation settlement regarding Tezopoulos.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Bayleaf.
Yes.
Milioti. Yes. Adams.
Yes.
Fleury.
Yes.
Torriello.
Yes. Yep.
Is the AC on, Kim? Yes, it is. It's just very warm in the hall. So what I can do. Greenwich Township Committee. No. Members present: Bayleaf.
Yes.
Milioti. Yes. Adams.
Yes.
Fleury.
Yes.
Torriello.
Here.
All rise for the flag salute.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First, do you want to do the motions
Yes,
from the executive?
I just want to make sure that I get them all. Do we get the dollar amounts?
I asked, she was going to look.
Okay,
That's
so
she's not
why don't we,
here. To ask about Wednesday.
Why don't we do this? I'd like to make a motion to retain the services of Joseph Wenzel, consistent with the terms discussed in executive session, at an hourly rate of $160, not to exceed $165 an hour.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Comment? Roll call.
Bayleaf?
No.
Milioti? Yes. Adams?
Yes.
Fleury?
Yes.
Torriello?
Yes. And can I have a motion authorizing township auditor and/or township attorney to create a 501c3 consistent with the terms discussed in executive session?
I'll make that motion. Second.
Comment? Roll
I
call.
do have comment.
Okay.
Pending,
Oh, not to exceed $1,000.
true, but also pending, Attorney Tadeo and Bob Morrison's opinion about the township authorizing that.
Okay, fair enough.
Second. Okay, so Jim made the motion, 1 second, roll call. Bayleaf?
Yes.
Milioti? Yes. Adams?
Yes.
Fleury?
Yes.
Torriello?
Yes. Was that it? Can I have a motion authorizing the clerk to advertise for deputy court administrator, at part-time, not to exceed $28 an hour.
Not to exceed 28 hours.
28 hours, what did I say?
28 hours per week.
Yeah.
At a salary range of, $15.
$15 an hour.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Comment? Roll call.
Bayleaf?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Fleury?
Yes.
Torriello?
Yes.
Milioti, yes.
And finally, a motion authorizing township attorney to institute declaratory judgment action consistent with the terms discussed in executive session.
I'll make that motion. Second.
Comment? Roll call.
Bailey's?
No.
Miliani?
Can you explain to me what we're
That's an abstain.
You're an abstain.
abstaining?
Adams?
Yes.
Valori?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes. Is that it? Motion to approve the regular minutes for March 20th, April 3rd, April 15th, and April 17th, unless somebody has a reason for me to take them separately.
And it's just regular minutes, not executive.
Yeah.
Right. I'll make the motion.
April 17th to page 4. There's no record of the vote
On what?
after animal control officer. On top, collection clerk, animal control officer, the salary 2012.
That whole section?
We didn't have a vote. It wasn't until the April 24th meeting by resolution.
Okay. Any other
That's why we had to do the resolution at the 24th meeting. These were the recommendations, however, we took no
All
action.
right.
Any other comments?
My motion's done.
Did make a motion?
Second?
Roll call.
Bailey?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Miliani?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes.
Valori?
Yes. And then can I have a motion for the payment of bills and claims, for payment of bills in the amount of $3,443,688.50.
Make the motion.
Second.
Comment? Roll call.
Bailey's?
Yes.
Miliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Valori?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes.
Was there, something, Jim, that we wanted to add about Jeff Jewell that was overlooked? Had that been ever paid, Kim? Remember that?
2013.
The 2013 invoices?
Okay, I'll go get them and prove
Was that in
We'll do
last,
later.
was that in the 24th
Yeah.
meeting? Because I wasn't here.
You can get them, and then we'll do a separate.
We'll do a separate motion
Okay.
for that?
But we can get them tonight.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know if it was in the 24th meeting or not.
Motion to open up the meeting for public comment to discuss agenda items.
Make the motion.
2013 money. I'm sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Anyone wishing to make public comment, please come up to the podium, state your name.
Richard Byrne, 104 Burke's Lane. The last township meeting, our township attorney was asked if he felt that the committee had satisfied the requirements of the open public meetings laws and obtained the adequate notice for the special April 15th committee meeting. He replied that because the notices had been sent to the newspapers, that the requirements of the law had been satisfied. In looking into this a little further, I would contend that his answer was, at the very least, misleading, if not downright inaccurate. The Open Public Meetings Law does not require that the newspapers actually publish the notices 48 hours in advance of the special meeting. It does, however, require that notices be placed in the mail, in this case, the email, at a sufficient time in advance so as to reasonably be expected to be received by the newspapers at least 48 hours prior to the meeting. The notices were sent to the newspapers at 9 p.m. on Saturday night. No one can reasonably expect the paper to stay at their business office on nights and weekends. So you knew that the notices would not be read by anyone at the newspaper until sometime Monday morning when the business office opened. That's too late to get anything published 48 hours in advance. That's too late to get anything published 24 hours in advance. That's too late to get anything published 12 hours in advance. Too late to get anything published the day of the meeting. And that, in fact, is exactly what happened. It would seem that this committee purposely acted to ensure that the email requesting notice of the meeting would not be read by the newspaper staff in time to be published prior to the meeting. In other words, you did everything you possibly could to ensure that the meeting would be kept a secret from the citizens of this township. And while Mr. Tadeo may believe that the letter of the law was followed, clearly its intent was not. I in fact would contend that you may not even have satisfied the letter of the law. Since you purposely did not send the notice until Saturday night, you had no reasonable expectation of its delivery to the business office staff 48 hours prior to the meeting. And that is a violation of the Open Public Meetings Law. So you not only held a secret meeting, you held an illegal meeting. Not only did you violate the Sunshine Law, but you also violated your own principles of open and transparent government. You denied the citizens of this township the opportunity to observe your proceedings, to hear the debate, to assess the arguments, and to voice their opinions regarding your decisions. Because of this, I believe that any and all discussions, debates, and resolutions passed at that meeting need to be reheard by the public. I call on this committee to do the right thing and to correct this situation. You need to re-advertise and rehold that meeting. You need to re-adopt any resolutions passed in full view of the public. If you fail to do that, then I believe, Mr. Torriello, you and Mr. Tadeo need to be held accountable for willfully acting in a wholly unprofessional and unethical manner to purposely subvert the law. When you took the oath of office as mayor, you swore to uphold the laws of this state, not to subvert them, not to use every possible loophole to get around them. You swore to uphold them. If you do not reschedule that meeting, you will be violating your oath of office. You will be crossing the line into clearly unethical territory. You will be proving to the citizens of this township that you're unfit for this position of trust that they've placed in you. Think about that. This is not a minor thing. This is not some small misstep you can sweep under the rug. In fact, everyone on this committee needs to think long and hard about this situation. Purposely holding secret meetings, purposely edging around the law rather than upholding its intent, should be something that you automatically defy, something you automatically push back against. Are you all just going to sit here and be a party to this unethical behavior? Will you too go down with this ship? Thank you.
Anyone else?
Agenda item.
Paul Bean, 417 North Main. I request tonight that the town council does not approve the final budget. I further request that they explore at the very minimum a 1 cent per thousand or per 100 tax increase. I feel that the police department cut and emergency service cuts will have a negative impact on the community. Keeping officers behind the desk will cause a delay at some point. Let's just hope it's not a life or death situation. $27 a year, $2.25 per month is what it would cost the average homeowner to keep an assistant to the police and return monies removed from emergency services. Considering that the voters of this community chose to spend a considerable amount of their own tax dollars to make sure they have a top-flight school program, I am sure another $2.25 per month to make sure the police are not delayed while bogged down by phone calls and paperwork to arrive at whatever emergency situation is money well spent. The town council over the last 20 years has had such a cut and hold the line, or fiscally responsible as they would like to call it, that the future taxpayers of this community will be paying for the irresponsibilities for generations to come. Where is the money for the infrastructure to come from? Raising taxes is not always a bad thing, and yes, sometimes it's a necessary thing.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing no hands, motion to close public comment.
Make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Lorraine, did you want to discuss your presentation now? Yeah, sure. Right? Or do you want to do the ordinance first?
Jim has,
Ryan, do you have a resolution from Sherry to work on? Tax reimbursement or something she gave you to work on?
we'll work on.
Yeah, she emailed the resolution that first
Now we would need to, it would be resolution 2014-47.
2014-47,
Yes.
a sewer lien reduction,
No, it's to overpayment.
overpayment.
The resident made payment to the Business Township, and it should have gone through the account.
Oh, okay.
In the amount of?
$363.42.
And it's Resolution 2014-47.
Yes.
Make a motion.
I'll second it, in the amount of $362.42. Comment, roll call.
Bailey's?
Yes.
Miliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Lorick?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes. Jim, did you want to do this first before Lorraine, or for the infrastructure? It's on,
For the technology?
Yeah.
For the ordinance?
is that your item?
Yes.
Yeah, so we have a introduction of, this is what, first reading? So first reading by title only of ordinance 2014-3, an ordinance providing funding for information technology infrastructure and time management improvements and appropriations, and appropriating $20,000 for the project.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Comment. Roll call.
Bailey's?
Yes.
Miliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Lorick?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes. Should we do
Now I
the
think,
hearing first and then the presentation? I think the presentation first.
I think the presentation
Yeah,
first.
I agree.
I like
I
that.
think you should do that now.
Presentation first.
If anybody wants extra copies of the extra copies up there, you can take them.
Bob, if there's anything you need to add while we're going along in here, feel free.
Well, I have some information that I would like to pass along.
Sure.
Normally, I spoke with the Deputy Director of the Division of Local Government Services late this morning, and she advised me that her staff had not been able to complete the review of Greenwich Township's budget. And as a result, the Township Committee will not be able to adopt the budget tonight. The process should be to hold the public hearing as scheduled and as advertised,
Okay.
close the public hearing, and then when the review is complete, if there is anything that will require additional budget actions, they'll be taken at your next meeting. She promised to have their reviews completed by the last Wednesday in May, if the committee cares to schedule a special meeting. Otherwise, we'll be ready for your first meeting in June.
Okay. Thanks.
That's Wednesday. Is when the state will.
That's when they'll be ready.
All right.
And I asked for it to be a Wednesday because you're not going to see me around here on Thursday night, so that's before Labor Day weekend, not Memorial Day weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Or is that actually after Memorial
It's
Day
after.
weekend?
It's after.
The 28th will be
Well, if you want to schedule for that Thursday, then I'll be around.
It's okay to go on?
Mhm.
On the first page, we take a look at where the taxes went in 2013. I'm sure all of you are familiar with the way that taxes are collected in the state of New Jersey. The local municipality collects the taxes for all of the taxing entities, for the county of Warren, for the Greenwich School. If there are any regional school, they would all be collected here. In 2013, the overall tax rate was $2.71. We collected a total, when we were charged with collecting a total of over $16 million. About 51% of that went out to Greenwich School. About 26% went to the county, plus the county open space. And we also have a county library tax, because we don't have our own municipal library here. And then the local portion. Out of all the taxes that we collect, we get to hold on to about 17.5% of those taxes. The next page is a pie chart that gives us an idea as to how we spend our current budget. We have a total budget this year of just over $4 million. The overall percentages are listed there. Our largest item is salaries and wages, then operational expenses for the department. Statutory expenses include pension contributions for police and fire and also PERS, and also the employment taxes. Capital improvements, which make up only about 2% of our budget, would counter for any of the improvements that we would be making with the daily capital needs. The largest, I call it a variable, unspending appropriation is the reserve for uncollected taxes. That's $500,000. That is, it acts like an allowance for doubtful accounts. So for all those people that don't pay their taxes, we have to raise $500,000 more than what we actually need, just so that we can pay the county and the school 100% of their levy. So when Joe Neighbor doesn't pay their taxes, we still have to pay the county and the school 100%. We have to raise $500,000 more than what we need, just to make sure that we have enough funds to operate the local government. The next page gives us a little bit of the detail on what the departmental operational expenses are. The operational expenses made up about 35% of our entire budget, and this page lists all the departments that are included in the general operation. Some of the larger ticket items are our insurances. Our group insurance would be our liability, professional liability. The other insurance is, I think I said that backwards, I'm sorry. The other insurances are group liability. The group insurances are employee health and any employment bonds that would be accumulated. We make contributions to the first aid squad and the fire squad. Our utilities are made up of street lighting, electricity, water, and gas, and any natural propane that we need. The judgments is a line item that's set up in case there are any judgments that would be pending from litigation. The next page takes a look at the entire departmental operation. I would go through some of the rest, but if you look at the police portion, about 25% of our entire budget goes to pay for the police. That's the salaries and wages and that operational expense. About 9% goes for our statutory expenses. You can see that the reserve fund collected taxes is about 13%, so if everybody paid their taxes on time and 100%, you can save 13% of your local tax bill.
Does the municipal clerk 2% include her operations?
Yes, every little slice of the pie here includes that. So the salaries and wages and all the pens and paper and office supplies that everything we need to.
We're counting them, Kim.
Yes, you are.
Okay, so come over.
I'm turning my watch on.
I know.
Yeah, the next page highlights our biggest changes in our municipal budget. Kind of exciting to see that there's only one large increase, and that is the reinvestment in the infrastructure of Greenwich Township. The decreases range from legal, from the overall streets department, public buildings and grounds, grants. Grants is kind of a little bit of a misnomer there, because all the money that we would collect in the revenue was also offset by appropriation. So even though the decrease in the appropriation was $183,000, there was also an equal offsetting decrease in the revenue.
Is that 183 due to realignment of our grants?
Not necessarily a realignment. There was a TOC grant from last year.
Yeah, the 160,
Yeah,
but
for Dumont Road.
yeah, but is it really a decrease of 183,000?
You also had a clean energy grant for $30,000 that you don't have yet this year. So put two of them together, that's pretty much.
Did we ever receive the paperwork on the grant monies for some of the things that were still outstanding from 2013, that the grants had not been, the grant applications had not been received? You know? Maybe we'll talk about it out offline. I thought that there were about maybe 2 or 3 of them that were outstanding that had not had the applications done, but the money was sitting at the state for us. Okay.
The next page looks at the revenues, which is the whole other half of our municipal budget. You can see that $2.6 million that we collect in local taxes funds 65% of our municipal budget. So all of the money that our taxpayers contribute by far carries the town for all of its needs. We're using about 12% of our revenues to come from surplus to offset any increases. And the next couple of pages give a little bit more detail on what our revenues actually are. The first following page looks back at from 2009 to 2014 how much we have requested our taxpayers to contribute to sustain the local government.
I'm fine. I had a question on a previous page.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
Jumping too fast. So the surplus of 478 is our current surplus for this budget.
That's the kind of amount of surplus we're going to use from the budget to offset.
It's the amount of surplus we are going to use.
Correct.
So we take the 923, Bob, correct me if I'm wrong. We started with 923? 943. All right, so now we take 478 off of that in order to keep things. That leaves us with a balance of what?
Let me get the sheet.
Under 500.
Page 19,
460
about 460,000 in surplus. I just want to put it in context, because this is a
Sheet 39, 465,000.
465, thank you. Sheet 39. And we started this year, or we ended last year, how do you properly say it? We ended last year with 943, and we're starting this year with 465 in surplus.
Yes.
We basically slashed it in half. Okay.
Anything else on that page?
Thank you.
Property taxes, in 2009, we asked the local residents to pay just under $2.3 million. It did go up slightly in 2010 and 2011, but since 2011, it's either remained static or actually dropped. It's went up $3. That's not a large increase for 11. So even while services are trying to be increased and demands and expenses go up every year, the local government is only asking you to pay the same amount that you've been paying since 2011 to fund the local operations. One other point of reference is that the value of 1 cent has decreased over the past couple of years. In 2011, we hit a high of $60,000. So for each 1 cent of taxes that the local municipality asked you to contribute, we received $60,000, $60,048. In 2013, we only got $59,833. That's based on a really big formula as to the total values of all the homes in Greenwich Township, and that's continuing to decrease. So even though while we're charging you the same amount and asking you to contribute the same amount to the levy, the actual amount on your tax bill may go up a little bit because it's a calculation based on the value of all the homes.
And that will be certified once we adopt the budget and all of that is appropriated down to the state.
Right.
Okay.
Once the county has
Got it.
everybody's budgets for the entire county and the restriction.
Mhm.
The next page looks at surplus and our historical use of surplus. We're using less surplus than we used to use in 2009. Our balance hit a really nice high in 2012 of $1,096,000. As Leland Adams pointed out, we started the year with 943, less the 478 that we're utilizing in this year's budget. This governing body is very conservative, and they're trying very hard to manage and utilize the surplus as conservatively as possible so that it's around for the next 5, 10, 15 years to offset potential tax increases. The next page looks at state aid. We use that term loosely because the state calls state aid energy receipt taxes and state aid. Our true state aid went from $6,800 to zero in 2011, and we don't receive any state aid in the township. We do receive something called energy tax receipts, and a very long time ago that was a local revenue. The state said it's too much for you to have the burden of collecting all that money, so we're going to collect it, and then we'll pay it back to you, but we're going to call it state aid. So the state makes themselves look kind of good by saying we're giving Greenwich Township $315,000 a year, but really that's a local revenue that's been ours all along. It's nice of them to pay it back to us, but we could probably, we don't get it all back, that's why it's in
Less than half.
The next page looks at what I termed our miscellaneous revenue. We do collect other revenues that aren't anticipated. They would include tax interest, which is interest on delinquent taxes, our court fines, regular licenses, which would be mercantile and liquor licenses, and overall interest on investments. In 2009, we had anticipated $80,000 in interest. And if anyone looks at their savings accounts monthly statement, you'll see that anticipating $2,500 for this year is pretty hopeful. Even though we have a lot of money in the bank, the banks are not paying out very much interest at all. So some of our revenues are local revenues increasing dramatically. Actually, all of them are increasing, unfortunately.
And Lorraine, so the number of licenses we have, just to put this chart in context, we don't have that, what is it?
Liquor
Four?
licenses,
How many do we have?
9?
More than that.
five or six.
Five or six, all right, there's 5 or 6 that we
Huh?
roughly get.
$1,400 for each liquor license and $150 for each.
1,400, all right, so it's like a total of $7,000, I think is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's what it says on the paper, Jim. 7 grand.
Oh, did I not read it? Thank you for pointing that out to me, Elaine. And our court has gone from $350,000 down to $150,000 in collections.
Our anticipated revenue, yes.
In 5 years.
And I don't want to get on a pulpit, but I was one of the folks jumping up and down about the way station and warning us their promise of $350,000 in income was not going to materialize. And I believe of the court, I don't have a doc, I know
So 48,000.
About 40,000.
40,000 that comes in versus
Maybe.
350.
It's
a shame
the
that we
same
have
as
to-
if it was the old way station. It's the same revenue that we were pulling with the trailer out there.
And we need to change that. I'm sorry, yes,
That's all right, so putting on.
yes.
The last couple of pages look at our sewer utility. Our overall sewer utility budget is a little over $671,000. That is made up of about 7% in salaries and wages, 10% in operational expenses. I have it broken out a little differently than the official budget, just for ease of local bookkeeping. The professionals would include our engineer and our attorney. The contractual is made up of the fees that we pay to
Phillipsburg. Sewardburg? That's okay, we understand.
The amount that we pay contractually to Phillipsburg to process the sewage, and also our C2 operator, which is the licensed operator required for a sewer utility. The capital is made up of a contribution to the sewer utility capital, and the statutory includes the employment taxes, the unemployment and salary tax.
Now, the capital that you have designated here is really about any improvements that need to be made throughout the upcoming year.
Right.
Correct.
The contribution just to the capital account that would sit there until you have a project that you
Correct, okay.
The operational expenses that make up about 10% of the budget are detailed on the next page. Some of the larger ticket items are repairs and maintenance and electricity for the second to last page is a look at our revenues. This is my favorite chart because there's only 2 colors on it. In our sewer utility, we have about $64,000, just over that we've anticipated to offset any potential increase in sewer rates. And we have the estimated sewer fees that we hope to collect this year, a little over $606,000.
What's the residential rate for sewer?
$137.
$137 per quarter. And do you know how many defaults we've had last year?
We had a tax sale in it.
Okay.
10?
I saw 2 numbers because I've been here from 2008 to 10, took time off and came back, and I saw we were running at a rate of 2 tax defaults per year, and now we're up to 12. And the sewer, I don't know what the sewer was, but now it's up to it's like 24, 25 is what went to tax sale in December.
Yeah, but either way, if it does tax sale, we obtain the revenue, the lien holder holds the...
Yeah, I'm just trying to paint, I mean, I think it would be a good statistic to show on here. You got a lot of good information on this chart, but that kind of jumps out at me as the overall health of the folks living in the town in terms of their ability to pay.
Okay. Do you want to do collection reading?
Yeah. I think we'll see next year.
Well, it's not just, that's only a sampling of 800 residents. What about the tax?
Well, that she
Because the
she
tax is
added on
the
the
overall...
collection
Okay.
rate. Is that right for taxes? Yeah.
Yeah, we can add that, both
Okay.
for the utility and for the tax.
Terrific, okay.
The very last page is a more historical look at pretty much 3 items of revenue that the sewer utility collects. As well as the surplus. We're up just a little bit in our usage from 2009. The sewer fees have been relatively steady except for between 2011 and 12. There was a set of bills that hadn't gone out that was collected in 2013. So 2013 looks a little inflated. And the unanticipated revenue could be everything from additional allocations and interest income.
Thank you, Lorraine. Excellent presentation. I like the visuals.
I like the fact that it's on black and white.
I just have one question. What was it that didn't go out, that went out in 13 to bill again?
In the end of 2011, the bills for the last quarter were calculated.
Oh, okay,
And,
yes.
They were just for commercial, but they weren't actually
Commercial,
mailed out.
correct. I remember that now, okay, that makes sense. And that from 12, okay, that makes sense,
So
okay.
this one year was lower than the other.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bob, did you have anything you wanted to add before I open up? Okay.
No, sir.
Can I have a motion to open up for the public hearing portion of the second reading of the adoption of ordinance 2014-0, for the municipal budget?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone wishing to be heard for the public hearing portion for the municipal budget, please come up.
Harry Hill, 529 North Main Street, Stewartsville. The municipal budget that you're proposing this evening hurts the Greenwich Township residents. We've already terminated employees, we've cut hours of employees. What we've really done is we've cut services to the Greenwich Township residents. We've cut away, the services that we've taken away has also had a negative impact on the employees of the township. Morale's going down. You're taking a cop off the street, putting him behind a desk, and what does that really do for us? There's nothing more than hurt the residents of Greenwich Township even more. Township budget is wrong. It's wrong because it hurts. Who does it hurt most? It hurts the residents. It hurts the emergency services of Greenwich Township. Clearly, the Greenwich Township residents, based on the school board election that we just had, are willing to pay for quality services, and those quality services are being taken away. Also, by not increasing taxes a little bit over the last several years, we're ultimately hurting ourselves. We said before, Mr. Morrison made a comment a couple of meetings ago that there's no way we can recoup this surplus. The surplus is going to continue to go down every year unless we try and do something to help offset that. Mr. Bean mentioned it before, a 1 cent or even a 2 cent increase is going to help us build up that surplus for those large capital expenses that are going to come down the road. I mentioned it in the last meeting, we've clearly outgrown this municipal complex a long time ago. We really got to start thinking about how we're going to present ourselves in the future. By not putting more money away to do that, it's just going to hurt us in the long run. We're going to have a big brick hanging over our shoulders real soon. The Greenwich Township residents want and deserve quality services. This municipal budget you're about to pass is doing nothing but taking those quality services away.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I just want to make a comment. After you shut the meeting down last time, you started talking about the increased budget from last year, and I'd just like to make a comment and say that the majority of that increase in the budget was the grant for Dumont Road, and so if we would have preferred not getting that grant from the state, we could have maintained the same level budget. And the other increase had to do with the down payment for the fire truck that had a consensus vote.
Anyone else want to make comment on this budget for the public hearing? Seeing no hands, can I have a motion?
Joe, I just want to reiterate that this would be the last chance to make a public comment on the budget before it is adopted. I just want to put that out there. Given that the state has delayed our approval, this will be the final public hearing on the budget. So if you have any comments, please come up and let us know what's on your mind.
Seeing no hands, a motion to close?
Make the motion.
I'll second.
Bailey?
Yes.
Miliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Florrie?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes. And we're going to now have
Do you have any comments?
a public hearing, I guess, on the ordinance, right? This is a second hearing for this?
We can't until the budget is approved by the state.
No, this one here, this the second reading, public hearing on ordinance
do this.
2014-01.
We could do this.
Oh, it's a different
Payment of bills and
ordinance.
claims.
Oh, okay, it's not...
Yeah.
So
okay.
I think what I need is a motion to open up for public hearing on the adoption of ordinance 2014-01, which is an ordinance establishing procedures for officials and authorized employees for the purchasing of goods and services and for approval of payment of claims.
I'll make a motion.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye. Anyone wishing to be heard on the adoption of this ordinance, please come up.
This has been corrected in the agenda that they sent?
Yes.
Seeing,
This is the second hearing.
yeah.
Actually, I'm just Gary Hill, 5 Can we have more detail on exactly what this ordinance is?
Sure. Do you want me to do that in public comment?
No.
No, but that's,
It may call it more public comment, that's one reason I asked.
We
Well,
did
that's
it by
public
title only.
comment. Public comment should have been made during public comment period and asking questions about what
I mean,
1401
I think what we could do is we could probably make
We-
copies and disseminate it.
Do we have a copy of the actual ordinance?
Is it in it?
You have it for the public.
No, because technically it's not a public document until it's adopted.
I mean, it's been advertised, I mean, okay.
Gary, this was discussed in detail.
It's
It's the
my
first-
colorful flow charts
Of how to pay bills.
of bill paying process.
It's an internal process.
Can't kind of go to paperwork.
Yes, no.
No, this is, just let me add a little color to this. So we came in and we changed the way in which we moved from a spend, pay, approve process to a request, spend, approve process, approved, spend process.
We've had much
Flip it around.
discussion on this.
Okay?
So we can approve spending before it happens.
Right.
Requisitions for...
Anyone else wishing to be heard on this? Motion to close public comment?
I'll make a motion.
Or public hearing, I'm sorry, public hearing for the record.
Second, Elaine?
Second, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye. Can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2014-01, an ordinance establishing procedures for officials and authorized employees for the purchasing of goods and services and for approval of payment of claims?
Make a motion.
I will second it.
Comment. Roll call.
Bailey's?
Yes.
Miliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Florrie?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes. And now, can I have a motion for first reading of ordinance 2014-04, amending the salary ordinance?
Motion for first reading?
First reading. I'll make a motion.
Motion for first reading?
Yeah.
Elaine make the motion.
I'll second.
Second, Jim?
Comment. Roll call.
Bailey's?
No.
Miliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Florrie?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes. And can I have a motion adopting Resolution 2014-45, setting the salaries for employees effective 1/1/2014?
Can we amend that by putting that deputy position with the salary in there, the $15 that we did the resolution on?
Let's look at this resolution.
It doesn't have a number on it.
Let me get this. I need my tabs. Yeah, where's my tabs? Paper.
Yeah, this one has deputy court administrator, on this one, it includes her name as Leslie.
Yeah, it's gotta be-
$31,481.
Yeah, that's gotta be changed.
Yeah.
To to $15 an
So we
hour.
just change this resolution,
Yeah.
if we cut $15.
Right.
It's got to be amended on the salary for $15 an hour, and it's not something that we have the person's name on,
Right.
or whichever one. I know that there's two sitting here.
You know what, the first one, we should leave as is and adopt as is, because these people were paid, correct?
Okay.
So,
Okay.
leave that one.
And then the second one makes a change.
Okay, so do we have a first and a second? I don't think we did.
No, we don't.
I'll make the motion.
This is just for the
45.
1445.
Correct.
I'll second.
Comment. Roll call.
Haley's,
Yes.
Miliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Laurie?
Yes.
Freeland?
Yes. And now, can I have a motion to adopt Resolution 2014-46 as amended to reflect the hourly rate for the deputy court administrator,
Yeah,
part-time?
I got a question on this. The sewer collector line, it's confusing. Can we eliminate that line? Okay. Because it's down here, tax collector and sewer collector. That was my only amendment.
Okay, so can I have a motion as amended?
Make the motion.
I will second.
Comment? Roll call.
Haley's,
No.
Miliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Laurie?
Yes.
Freeland?
Yes. Okay, Mike, a lot of the items that I have on my agenda deal with follow-up, so, I just, and it's gonna lead into something that I'd really like to see us do in terms of new reporting requirements, where we can have the date listed of when the item was originally opened, and then at that juncture, we have an anticipated date to close the item, and then we can check in between, so that as that date hits, we could say, was the task completed? If not, why not? What were the issues? I mean, hopefully, we're still going to have that on the old business, new business, to have the discussions, but I think in not providing a specific deliverable date,
It tends to continue to run along aimlessly,
right,
and not pointing any direct fingers at...
Oh, yeah, no, this
one
isn't,
department.
no.
But it,
No,
you
no.
know,
There's nothing you can do.
it's an aimless, exactly.
Oh, of course, no.
We know
Yeah.
that.
Is right, there's other county, whoever.
Exactly.
Exactly.
All right, I think I know what you're looking for, but we can talk about this offline. You're looking for almost a spreadsheet?
Yeah.
An executional planner.
The project.
The date it was discussed.
A
Right.
task,
Mhm.
start date, anticipated.
Long-term,
completion date.
short-term.
Right, and then maybe on there, any anticipated issues that we can identify up front, so that we can better manage them collectively in terms of following through, I think would be helpful. And I think, Kim, that I think we need to do the same thing for you as well, because a lot of these things, what I'm finding is, we're having discussions, we're identifying the issues, we're voting on action to be taken, and then items, and it's the abandoned house, for example, is one in terms of, we did a lot to kind of set the table to start addressing that, but yet, like, and I know I'm a bit impatient. I mean, I want to see some of these homes knocked down already and cleared, and I understand it's a process that can't happen in weeks or months, but it's a process that I really would like to see us further along than we are.
Right, and maybe a simple spreadsheet, almost setting up a critical
Yeah, Mike,
timeline.
it falls along the lines
like
of
the old
an
business, new business that we started at the beginning
It
of the
falls under an
year.
executional planner. Would it be helpful, Mike, for us to give you priorities on those as well?
They're all priorities.
I know they're all priorities, but something has to get done first.
Sometimes, I mean, if
Something might pop up that needs to be addressed before something else.
my office, for starters, now I relay it to you, I established the priority because I know when the due date is, when a response has to be provided, wherever it may be.
Right.
In other instances, when you folks come to me and said, Mike, can you look into doing X? Well, then,
most of the time, I probably have an idea, but yeah, to establish a timeline, deadline, I'll be, that's the way I want that. I need a deadline. I mean, a lot of us work like this. And we could certainly do that. That would be simple and effective.
Mike, I have a template that I use, and I was offering it as well for Tim and whatnot, all right? Don't waste your time on the spreadsheet kind of thing, all right? I'll send you what I have. Take a look at it. If you like it, if it can fit the bill.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably have some questions maybe as far as what you're looking for and direct them to the mayor and the interim, like before next month's meeting, I guess. Okay.
And with respect to the Lindy signage, I know you had a meeting, and...
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, and again, in keeping with that theme, because I know we've been talking about this at least for 3 years, literally, and I really would like to see a deliverable date to where, the county can,
But Lindy is moving their is putting up another sign or their little statuette, which is what you said to us, but what else does the county have to offer?
All right. I sent you all an email. I just made a copy of it for tonight. Okay, we met on May the 2nd, and then, of course, there was no timeline established at the meeting. The county had to go back and regroup, I think, talk to the freeholders, if I'm not mistaken, to see how this larger, different sign, which was going to cost more than the average sign because of the message that was going to be delivered on these new signs, where the county stood. The other day, I sent an email out to the county engineering department to get an update in preparation for tonight's meeting. I got an answer today that and it relates to the North and South Main Street signage as well. So let's take one thing at a time, not to overlap. The Lindy signage is moving forward, and he did not give me a date, but it got approvals. I don't know how long it takes to fabricate some of the signs that they're talking about with the logos and whatnot. But I will say, for the first time since I've been involved, there was, I think, a good plan put in place. I think it'll be effective. The Lindy folks were borderline delighted, and the time will tell.
I have one question.
It's not going to stop every truck. It's not. But it's going to help a whole lot.
Now, I had one question. Are they planning to move the one that they have and put it on the other side? Because we do have an ordinance issue with signages. And is that going to be moved, or are they just putting in a new one?
The sign is angled, and it faces in a
Greenwich Street,
direction.
Towards,
Exactly, which, why it was put that way is kind of, nobody really has the answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be flipped. It either needs to be put so it's like a V kind of sign that the Lindy logo is facing both directions, or it just needs to be flipped 90 degrees, basically, so that it's facing what would be a southwesterly direction. And the vehicles on Greenwich Street see that it's not...
Coming from Route 22 towards the center of town.
I mentioned to them that they needed to talk to the zoning officer to confirm that there would not be any variances created if they wanted to do a double face sign.
Okay.
As opposed, if they just want to flip it 90 degrees,
No, I'm just where, my question is more about, we do have issues with signages, and we do have...
I explained the fact that the new ordinance was in place a few years ago, and it's fairly regular.
Yes. That's the
Yeah.
one that needs to be moved around and so that it looks like that that's where you're going into,
Right, yeah,
which I think
yeah.
is the
I know what you're
perfect
talking
reason,
Yeah.
perfect reason.
And what I'm sorry, Angela.
And the one that the county's putting up, it's going to be bigger than the ones that they have now?
Well, first of all, they only have one in adjacent to the low side of the road, if you will, the south side of the road. And it's a little pinky sign, it's a Home Depot shop right with a straight arrow.
Yeah.
It is very ineffective on many fronts, size, message, location,
Right.
etc. What they're going to do is they're going to probably toss that one out, and they're going to install two larger signs. Both the signs are going to be relocated further west towards 22. They're going to have, at least the thought is that they're going to have Home Depot and ShopRite with the respective logos, and a message, a larger sign that will say second left. And that will
Not
register...
only in front of...
It won't be in front of
Right.
them.
Yeah, no, it's going to be, well, yeah, but,
You said
look,
west will be back closer to 22.
right,
So it's not going to be in front of the light, it's going to be in front of the first light. It's not going to be in front of the light that you stop before you turn.
no,
to go
the
with-
one, it needs to be, because once a truck especially is in that dedicated left turn lane, it's too late. They have to make a left. You have to advise them in advance
Before
before
they
they
get to the
commit to get into that dedicated left turn lane. Because then it's over. They have to make the left, and that's where the problem.
Mike, I think what I want to suggest for time management purposes is, rather than go through the building renovate, the abandoned houses, if we can put the Lindy sign and the abandoned houses, specifically the one right here in the center of town, that yellow, if we can at least get a listing of priority of which one first, where we are in the process, what steps need to be taken, and start putting some dates on them so we can move the process forward for the next meeting. And then we can have a discussion with those documents in front. Stan Prater came tonight. We talked about the screening. The only plants that look like they might have not taken are the rhododendrons, but
Exactly.
he says he thinks they still might, so all I would suggest is for the next month's meeting, by that point in time, we'll know. So if we can, we can deal with it then.
I actually walked up there a week and a half ago and looked at the budding of every one of the plants, and the rhododendrons were the ones I was most worried about, you know, that were, it was marginal. They were budding, but they didn't look great.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool.
Yeah, so,
Okay, yeah, and I can speak to Joe if I have any questions
yeah.
as far as really what you're looking to accomplish here, no problem.
okay.
If you want to just a quick update on signage, the Main Street?
Sure.
That's
Main Street, Washington Street, how long is that?
Washington
12?
Street and Main and South Main, South and North Main. At the Lindy meeting, I gave them the county engineers a plan with the additional signage and messaging. They responded today as per my request, and they have no problems with the signage as proposed, other than potentially the location. So they suggested that I meet them in the field to review the location. So, that meeting hasn't been set up yet, but after that, we should be good to go.
Okay, good.
I mean, so there's been, I call it substantial progress. And, we'll go through it.
The next thing, I received several phone calls following the Roy North 5K run. And, several phone calls about the way, and I assume it's the same route that we have for the Stinger. I've run the Stinger, but I didn't run the Roy North. And, the police chief is here, and I want to circle you in on this as well, in terms of the race route, the way that it's set up. It locks residents in those communities, sometimes up for hours. And I don't know we need to figure out probably a better race course that doesn't, I mean, I know when you're crossing Greenwich Street, I mean, I've seen Lieutenant, when I, ran the Stinger, he stopped and let people go through, and, it was kind of like the race and the traffic were able to kind of interact with one another, but I get the sense on some of the side streets in the development, there were some people who were kind of locked in. And, I think we need to really look hard at that and have a discussion from recognizing a safety standpoint, but also recognizing the impact that it has on the residents in terms of maybe finding an alternate route, preferably flat, as little hills as possible, just in case if I ever decide to run again. But, seriously, I think the current route is problematic, and I don't know if you have thoughts on that, Chief, in terms of, or if that's, an issue that maybe you can get together with Michael or weigh in on that, but there should be a better way.
There was that one call that I talked to you about, I guess that dead-end street is that the one you're talking about? The one you got, I got a phone call to it, it's the one I talked to you about, I guess that was locked in and couldn't move, but, I don't know.
It's the same route as the Stinger Sprint. I think a lot of the complaints you might have seen have been before the race had taken place. Once they're not locked in a sense, if they have to get out, they can get out. It's just there's certain parts of the route, such as on Tory Place, where the race is engaged. They're on that route. They have to exit their driveway. Of course, if they exit the driveway, because they have to be cautious, someone from the road, they have to get out. We did allow people out of the development. They weren't blocked. If they were in that.
Well, and the other thing, apparently there were some notices that went out to residents. I know as the Township Committee, we didn't see those notices. I don't know who authored them.
That's required by the organization giving the race. Stinger Sprint, they provide those in the past.
Yeah, I just think that, especially if the Township Committee is going to be receiving, but we should be seeing those notices, knowing what the residents are told and not told. Like, I don't know, we need to coordinate that a little bit better. And the other thing is, I don't know that we've ever asked for a specific report in terms of the police overtime that's associated when you provide the support for these events. And I think, I would suggest as a Township Committee that we look at what those events cost, and I think that in fairness to the residents, that we probably have whoever's sponsoring whatever the event is to pay the police overtime as a condition to having those events. And I know that I've spoken to several race organizers, and that is typically how things are, how it's done. Other towns do it, yeah.
That was provided for there were an estimated cost, because we don't know what officer exactly are going to be on it.
Right.
But an estimated cost and how many officers are at free.
Good, so we can have a copy of whatever you provided to them, right?
I sent it to,
You did? Tom, you got it?
there, yes,
Prior to the race or long before?
yes, when you were asking about when there were the alternate route, the other route.
Right, when we first talked about the other route, when they wanted to change it.
Yeah, can you mind see what that overtime costs are?
We did the same amount of, that was given on that one.
Okay.
Which was what, by the way? Do you recall?
No,
I'll pull
I
it.
can't recall the number.
I don't even
Yeah,
recall
he
it,
said
but
he'll
I'll pull it.
resend it, so,
Okay.
don't go crazy.
But I think just we should probably maybe, consider adopting,
Maybe not this year, not for this upcoming race for Stinger, because they have to prepare.
not for the cost, but I think the race route,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
we should still talk about.
We should look at that.
I think the cost is something different, but, I mean, if there's an alternate route,
Do we know who established it?
I don't know.
I think that was it was established by the school.
Chief, do you know who established the race route initially?
For the Stinger run, is it the school? They just picked it?
I mean, I assume it was the Stinger committee in '09 that started the Stinger sprint.
Okay.
Is that
All right,
sponsored by the
so,
PTO?
yeah.
Is that sponsored by the PTO?
Yes.
I think maybe we could take this offline, but I would like maybe, an opportunity for you to weigh in on maybe any alternate courses that would have the most minimal impact, to the residents. Keeping in mind, not landlocking these folks in. If that could be done, we can always change the course, on the day of the race. As far as police overtime and costs and all of that, that's for future, I acknowledge that. But, to the extent we can do that, that would be helpful. Okay? And then you could just work with Tom, I guess. Mike, do you think that's something you need to be involved in, or no? No? Okay, all right, so just, if you could just, that would be great. Thank you. Also, I don't know, in our reorganization meeting, we had established the COA advisory
Yes, we did.
council again, and it was obviously, in light of the recent Supreme Court decision, necessary. I still have not received any communication. I reached out to Beth at Clark, and I did have a conversation with her in terms of, her perspective on what the decision means to Greenwich. And, she said she would get back to me, and I haven't heard anything, but I think we need to have the COA Advisory Committee reconvene and start addressing our right. And we actually have real numbers now. So,
And we're in good shape, but this committee needs to,
no.
this committee needs to reconvene to make sure all the needs are met.
Right. And again, I'm not saying there isn't going to be continued litigation on those items, but I think we do have, at least now, numbers and a guideline. And correct.
What, 5 years?
Easy, yeah.
Or longer. So, I guess I will send an email out to
Sure.
and have them.
Do you want me to do it?
You do it, and
doesn't
just
really matter.
reconvene it. So go ahead and
Okay.
do that.
Advisory committee.
So we could start tackling those issues. One item that is not on the agenda I want to add, it was suggested by a resident, Frank Marquetta, actually, contacted me and gave what I think is an excellent suggestion regarding the asphalt plant. As many of you may know and follow in the paper, one by one the litigation is resolving, and not in the direction we hoped for. So in preparation, or at least out of an abundance of caution, to the extent that it's actually developed, Frank has suggested, and I think it's an excellent idea, that we undertake a baseline air quality study prior to it being built, so that to the extent that it is built and it starts to have a negative effect, we can at least, in anticipation of down the road, we know that folks making those decisions are going to require, well, how do you know it's gotten worse? Well, we can say, well, glad you asked. We took a study, and this is what the air quality was in 2014 prior to it being built, and I think in that regard, we should probably include water, because it is karst topography, and the proposed site is directly over the Greenwich Township drinking water, which is what led to the concern in the first instance. So I don't know how we would go about doing that, who would do that, whether it's in a price point that we would need to go out to bid. But, and I know you're hearing this for the first time.
And I don't know, because that's obviously a specialty service. but I would think it would be considered a professional service.
Yeah,
So
hydrogeology.
you could put it out as an RFP potentially, just as an idea. I mean, you could do the fair and open, the non-fair and open, there's the two ways to go there. There's probably a list of consultants out there that do this work, that somebody could take a look at, I guess. I mean, that's an interesting,
Well, we had the hydrogeologist in for the aquifers back in the day.
yeah, but if you, air
But
quality.
then air quality's a little
yeah,
bit different, yeah.
Um,
Do we ever use an air quality? I knew we used a noise professional. I don't remember if we ever did.
there, no,
So
I
it's an
don't-
we have to put an RFQ together, an
I
RFQ.
don't think,
So is that something we would authorize you to prepare and put together?
you could, sure. Because I think all I would do is probably go, well, other than the requirements of what the RFP would have to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Probably go on the website and, yeah,
I think it's a good idea.
general parameters for hiring an air quality.
Air and water.
That's,
Air and water.
oh, air, okay.
Air and water.
Okay.
But they would be bidding on whatever it is they're doing, right?
Well, they would be.
Yeah, they're submitting.
Giving you a proposal for their fees associated with the work.
Okay, got
And
it.
then you evaluate, based upon it, that would not be necessarily a low bid award.
Got it. Mhm.
That could be
Yeah.
whoever the best qualified.
Can we focus on the residents that are closest to the asphalt plant as a priority in that air quality study, like Greenwich Chase and Woodland Farm and Stilltown?
Certainly. Yes.
Okay, so can I have a motion?
You know, excuse me, a second, because this just occurred to me. In one of the other towns I represent, we just went through this pretty large asbestos remediation program, and it was a consultant that got hired for as far as the asbestos monitor that did a lot of air testing. So I could certainly call him, and we might have at least a good place to start.
Outside the county, Mike?
Well, no, inside.
Inside the county?
Well, obviously, you read about it? The
Just,
Small sites,
Yeah.
the demo, that was part of the question.
Understood, Elaine.
Mhm.
Yeah, I know. So can I have a motion authorizing the township engineer to prepare an RFQ for professional services for the purpose of testing Greenwich Township air and water quality in and about in appropriate close proximity to the proposed asphalt
Greenwich
plant?
Chase, 519, Wyndham Farm, affected areas.
They'll establish how many locations are necessary.
Okay.
Mhm, okay.
So that'll be part of what they do.
I'll second
I'll
it.
third it.
They'll know what.
Okay, whomever. Comment.
I'll volunteer my house for...
Roll call.
Bailey?
Yes.
Miliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Laurie?
Yeah.
Cordero?
For time management, yes. For time management, I'm going to defer the rest of my items. I would
No,
ask...
you have to bring up the newsletter, because it has to be done.
Okay, all right, then quickly. I would like to reinstitute the newsletter and ask each committee member to come up with a topic of something that they would like to include. I have,
This is not how this was done when you got this assignment back in January.
No, it wasn't. But so, if you and Tom want to do
Okay.
something on your, yeah, exactly, something like that might be helpful. If you and Jim want to do something on budget and
Budget,
finance,
okay,
right,
all right,
okay?
yeah.
And let's see if we can have some drafts, yes, for the next township committee meeting, how about that? Okay. We'll start it now.
Okay.
And, Michael, while we move to Tom's item, there's a gentleman in the back who came here before that had some concerns about not getting results to the answers regarding the discussion of the cracked sidewalk driveway issue up on Washington Street.
Washington?
Whoa.
Yeah, he's in the back in the green shirt. If you could just maybe have a conversation with him now, because he's been waiting patiently here, and he's not on the agenda item, so, if you could please just have a conversation with him, offline, and then we're gonna proceed now with that.
Bring something up. He was gonna get back to me 5 months ago.
Well,
Who's gonna talk to you
He
right
was
now?
gonna get back to me 5 months ago about that tree.
Yeah, we're sending it out there right now.
I looked at the tree. I brought it
Mike,
back.
if you could just, if you go outside,
Get up and go out.
go outside, please.
I think I'd like everybody to
Yeah.
hear it.
Oh,
I'd be happy.
okay.
It's okay.
Oh, okay.
You were gonna get back to me 5 months ago.
Wait,
You
can
said
you say your name and address, please?
James Hess,
Okay.
HSS. I'm doing this for my aunt, who's 90 years old, she's gonna be 91
I
and live
remember.
there her whole life.
I remember it.
They put the sidewalk through, originally, when they put it in, I went down, I talked to the engineers. Everybody that showed up when they first put it in had a crack in it this big. They were gonna replace it. This has been going on since the sidewalk has been put in. Okay, we'll let the sidewalk go. All right? The tree is dying. They were supposed to take both trees down. I said, okay, I understand the one tree.
I'm sorry, you say they.
When they did the
I was
sidewalk,
referring to the contractor when they put the sidewalk.
The contract, okay.
the other tree is getting worse every year. When they graded it, I used to have a grade. I used to be able to cut right down to the road. Somebody's going to be held responsible if I get hurt, because that grade goes like this now. I've heard that, well, it would cost more money to put a stone wall in and grade it a little bit. I don't like hearing that stuff. The person told me that they were going to get their friend out there, who's a tree guy, to look at the tree. The tree could die next year, it could die 20 years from now. I came to an agreement, said, if I get a letter from the town, that if the sidewalk ever breaks up completely, or if that tree ever completely dies, as long as she's living, the town will be responsible for it, not her. All right? He was going to get his tree specialists out. I said I would get my tree specialists out who can say, anybody in here knows, you cut roots out of a tree this big and cut them back that far, it kills them. And you can look at the shape of the tree. And I went over the other one. They cut some of the roots out of that one too. And I was back, I showed, yeah, I understand where that one was dead, because there's a tree up against it. But this tree has been getting worse every year since they did it. And this has been going on since they put the sidewalk in, when they were supposed to take the trees down, both of them. I said, well, take the one down now.
You want to have a talk with him offline, so we can, at the meeting?
I'd be happy to.
I would prefer, we need to move the meeting along. Thank you.
You can give us a recap.
Yeah, you can give us a recap, but if you can, thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. You can, we can if you want to.
I'm gonna have to discuss it.
Yeah, we should put it on the record.
Discuss the issue of the scoreboard for the swimming. I know Mark is here. I guess back in November, we had the lady who runs the swimming program, Tracy Herdline, come here and sort of ask for how we would make a payment towards a swimming clock for the Phillipsburg pool. I guess the question was at the time, I guess she had said that it had been going on for a while. I mean, I as liaison, I've been to every rec meeting that you've had, and I never heard it come up as an issue of non-payment. Or I know Justin Kokura was working on it, and I don't know where he took it from there, but I thought it was done, and I guess she thought it was done, and I guess it came back up in November, and what happened was there was a problem of the legality of making a payment, that type of payment from recreation. And we referred it in November to Brent Carney, who was the attorney at the time, to see if we were allowed to make that a payment. And he had come back with his professional opinion saying, no, we could not. So I guess it got brought back up. I guess December went through, and the end of the year and the start of the year started coming up, and it got brought up again. And we were trying to find out with Frank Tadeo what would be a viable option. And we've been throwing some options towards Ms. Herdline on how to make this payment, and it doesn't seem to be acceptable to the Phillipsburg pool group, and we're still trying to come up to an agreement as to how we're going to make this payment of $2,500. It's not a question of whether or not we should give it to them. I think everybody's in in agreement that we should give it to them because we do feed our children into that program, free of cost, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark,
We're
so...
not charged for the use of the pool.
Right.
And we do use the system for our meets there.
Right. So there's no question whether or not we want to do this and make sure we make this person
Because
whole.
the rec board had voted that we felt it was, the budget for the swimming, had a surplus at the time, like $1,300, and if they continued that, they would have another $1,300, and
Right.
so we were willing to make that contribution towards an $18,000 timing system that
Right.
the floor
Then our contribution of the 18,000 would have been $2,500.
$2,500.
But we just have to do it statutorily
Right,
correctly.
and I think what she doesn't understand is that we have to do it the proper way, not the
Exactly.
good old boy way of saying, yeah, we'll give you the money and do it illegally.
And I
I
wanna-
would like to state that in 2012, December of 2012, it was brought up. I didn't hear again about it until August of 2013, when I was asked to provide $3,000.
And for the completeness of the record, there's been some email campaigning going on around town that has really grossly misstated the facts and have unfairly criticized Mark Hellman and other of our volunteers who dedicate countless hours for the running of the rec program. It is unfortunate, and I want to acknowledge that publicly, Mark, that the actual record, anybody who wants to take the time, and I reviewed the emails,
And I have the...
and there was even an individual who was blasting an email about, that the rec promised to pay. I want, for the record, I wrote that individual, and I said, who promised to pay? And the response, and I said, I'd like proof of the promise to pay. And the response was, well, there really was no promise to pay, there was an implicit promise to pay. So what was being blasted all over town, and what I have in my inbox, are dramatically different versions. And the emails that you had, way back in 12, said, I don't know that legally we can make the payment, I'd like to do it. You acknowledged the issue before the attorney even got involved, and you were correct in your position. And as a matter of law, what Ms. Herdline is asking us to do is break the law, and we can't do it. We've offered her multiple ways to make the payment. She has rejected all of them. We've offered the $2,500, and she won't take it under the terms and under the guidance of how our attorney has asked us. And if it is a payment as Bill presented, or no payment, the answer is there will be no payment, because we can't make the payment that way. And you were correct in your position back then, and there was never a promise to make the payment. Never.
Well, there's also another problem of who the payment going to. We said we were going to make the payment to Phillipsburg School, and they're saying, we don't know anything about it, we don't want the check written to us. And then it was to write a check to Ms. Herdline, but she has really no right to take the money, so it's like, we need, first of all, we need an actual PO saying, hey, who's formally getting this check, and who's cashing it, and who's making the payment towards the clock. We'd like some clarity, which we have not gotten yet. So no one knows. I mean, there's people who are not willing to accept the check. There's a lot of grayness there, so we need to nail down
And
that.
just to address the Justin Kukura, who was one of the best treasurers, and I'm sure that I have ever seen, Rec did such a great job. I'm sure he was trying to appease and try to get the situation rectified. I don't believe that he himself actually entered into an agreement with them. I just think
The
that as
emails that I saw
treasurer, he was
were
trying
more of
to.
a promise, yes, we would like to contribute. I don't think there was any promise in any of those emails that I read was we were going to do it.
Justin's email was addressed to Angie Crosby at the time who was president, myself who was vice president, and Tracy Herdline. In no means was it addressed to the whole board as an agreement of any sort. To make it
Somewhat turned
only
it into an agreement.
his
As his treasurer duties.
statement that he felt the budget could support.
When he made a general discussion, there was no promise in that email. She wrote to you on September 10th of last year and indicated that, it was September 10th, she wrote to you and said, I'd like to know you're going to make the $2,500 payment. You wrote back on September 13th and said, well, I want to clarify. And you expressly told her, no. So every email after that, where there's been this email campaign, is just patently false and inconsistent with your September 13th email. And I want the record to be abundantly clear that from day one, you went on record and indicated we'd like to help. We have to figure out a legal and appropriate way to do so. I'm paraphrasing your email, but that's what it was. And what I would like to do is, I know you've gotten bombarded with emails. I'd like to get a copy or emails of everybody who's written to you, and I'd like the Township Committee to author a response and to actually set the record straight on behalf of REC so that the folks get the correct information.
And
they don't have it.
some other stuff for the record saying that, this issue's been going on for a year and a half and nobody's done anything. Mark, you've ignored it. The township committees have ignored it. That's untrue. The gap in the timeline, there's an 8-9 month gap in timeline where there's actually no communication, no discussion. There's actually alludes to the fact that it's taken care of, and then it gets revisited. So if you consolidate the actions in the timelines, it's months. It's not a year yet.
So do we need a motion to authorize the mayor to create that consolidation and letter?
Letter to
whomever has received,
Whomever has sent
Fortunately,
email.
I guess she put my email address incorrectly in the email that was broadcast to everyone, so I didn't quite receive it.
But you have a copy of where it was broadcast? Or was it blind CC?
I have all the addresses that she sent.
So I think we need to send something out to everybody so that they have the
Actually,
facts.
I would like, if we could, send it out to all of my family accounts in recreation, so they all...
Yeah, because it's been quite a stir at the fields when I'm out there, and it's unwarranted.
I'll tell you what, we'll work on a letter from the Township Committee. We'll send it to you, and then you can disseminate it to everybody.
That would be great.
Okay? And I'm sorry you had to go through that. And I really appreciate it. I know.
Maybe we
I know, I get it.
Maybe we should make each one of our commissions have an opportunity to write something in the newsletter.
No, we do our own newsletter.
Okay.
Well, thanks, Mark, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Going on,
Well, wait, we have a motion.
You have the motion?
Motion?
No one seconded.
That's right. Second.
I'll
Okay.
Comment? Roll call.
Toriello?
Yes.
Bailey's? Miliani?
Oh, okay, yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Lauren?
He's
Yes.
having a moment.
Toriello?
Yes, twice.
People? Just 6 people.
He said something, I just want Toriello. All right.
Kim, on the other items so far, I don't have the back, I don't need them, right? Do you have it?
The returning member, Ryan Kenya, there's no paperwork on him.
Yeah, I didn't know he left.
He's,
I don't want, I didn't see any paperwork on it, so is this a formal,
Ryan?
should I be presenting it now without the formal
I would just,
signatures?
there's no...
I'd rather push it until I get the...
He wanted, the chief wanted the committee to know that Ryan is back on. He's been approved previously by the township
Yeah,
committee.
That's fine.
I never even knew he was
Yeah,
out.
that's
He
fine.
just wanted
Yep.
the committee to be aware
Then I'll
that
do it.
Ryan, after being in the Army, serving our
So let's
country in
thank him
Iraq,
for
Absolutely.
returning.
is back.
We publicly thank him and gladly accept his return to the fire department.
And as for the
Absolutely.
auxiliary member, there is no application with that. It's an auxiliary, it's a helper for the ladies. So just a motion.
So a motion to appoint Cheyenne Trimmer
yeah.
as an auxiliary member.
Yes.
I'll second.
Comment? Roll call.
Bailey's?
Yes.
Miliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Toriello?
Yes. And do we need a formal
So the
motion
minutes-
accepting Ryan Kaniak back?
Yeah, the minutes will reflect.
Yeah.
Why don't I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Comment? Roll call?
Bailey's? Miliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Toriello?
Yes.
And then, is this a
And then
formal
and then
request?
that last one, it is part of the bill list.
It's part of the bill list,
Something
so
that
it's-
you
We
already...
already
That's done.
approved it.
Yeah, it's already done.
It's done. He just wanted to talk to you about it, but he was at a chief's meeting, so...
All right, cool.
Elaine?
Well, because we also need to recognize that what Bob is putting forth with both Frank about the 2 volunteer departments that we are contributing to. That's why it was probably put on here to ask about this
Oh,
appropriation.
without it,
Yeah,
the audit.
because they need to have their records in order. Have you received anything
Yeah, today.
on the ADP stuff?
Today.
Excellent, because I
They sent
didn't...
the paperwork,
to Frank Tadeo?
I forwarded it to the CFO.
They can
I
do
spoke
everything
with
that we
the
need.
Okay,
Cost is
They
far
need-
less. Yeah,
you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. They just need some additional reports and things from Lorraine,
Mhm.
and we are looking at the first paycheck in June, I think 6th it is. I think it's June 6th. Will
So
be the
there'll be
first one.
training?
What we're doing is taking it in stages.
Mhm.
First, what we're doing is switching over from Action Data over to ADP.
Mhm.
And then, once we do the switch over of just payroll, then we'll start implementing the other things.
The time management
There is,
systems.
the time management system, they sent the things to me, and I forwarded them to Lorraine. We're going to need to take a 2-hour webinar
Mhm.
on this, and for the training. They don't come here and personally train, but it's through webinar. So they sent that, and once we have the training with that, then they'll be coming here with the equipment, and, you know.
And it's all inclusive, it's not a
Yes,
separate
that's part of the
cost.
price, yes.
Okay.
So first payroll in June.
June.
Yes,
Terrific.
because we're due to be paid on the
Just for,
23rd.
I know there was a question on pension, but I have another question on pension. I know that there was a question about the ADP, and it just brought the pension issue up to my head, about the report. Payments were made, and pension, was that ever resolved? The 2011 payment versus report, was that ever resolved?
I was told from the division that it was, that they had the transmission of the report.
Uh-huh.
I've been seeing that the payment of the actual report. I have been told while I was on the phone with them that they physically received the electronic communication and that they would apply the payment. But another employee went for a retirement seminar,
And,
and he was told that it was not applied to his account.
okay, so you need to get a physical copy of that too, so that we have it for our records, so that we don't keep going back and forth. And please let me know when you get that. Mike is outside, so we need to talk about the grates, the sewer grates. One in particular that was repaired at 305 Hamilton Drive in probably July of last year, has broken down again. They are among a couple that really, I think we're at the point now where we need to have Mike and the professional of the sewer grates go through certain sections of town and look at these sewer grates and making sure that they're withstanding the heat, whatever is causing them to break down. And it appears to be, so far, in the chase. So,
I think
Mike
next to my
and I-
house, I think my
Mike-
wife said something about that one is going to...
yeah, Mike and I have had this conversation. These folks at 305 Hamilton happen to, good timing, Mike, these folks at 305 Hamilton have their grate right in their driveway. So it's been great. This is like their third breakdown.
Yeah.
So we're looking at like actually possibly moving, no, they're not here. Possibly actually for that particular home, actually moving it off their apron. So Mike, you need to give us a report on that. It doesn't have to be today, but I wanted it on the record about what's transpired with 305 because it's,
You just explained.
yeah, I did. The resident is redoing her.
It's been multiple times, and my wife just mentioned to me, she's going to let the people know next door to us, that the grate in front of their house is also, it's happened multiple times.
We need a review of those, especially the ones that keep popping up. And it looks like the Chase is the one that keeps popping up. And maybe if we do that first, have a professional review of
All
that.
right. Well, we know 305. What's the address? Angela, do you hear?
731, 727, 727.
What road is it?
Jackson.
Jackson. Sorry. And then, okay, you want...
In the interest of time, I'm done.
Because 305, we know what to do.
I haven't seen it, so
No.
I can take a look at it tomorrow and tell you what's going on with it.
Yeah, the 305 Hamilton Inlet is a very, very peculiar setup.
Mm-hmm.
Very.
Well, we'll wait for you to look at it and give us your opinion on how we can fix it, because they're redoing their sidewalk, so keep that in mind. And Lorraine, I had one more question. I know there was a deadline on direct deposits for all employees. Has that all been set up?
All the ones that I received have been sent.
How many have you not
How
received?
many have not been received?
I can look it up in the fact, and there's not a lot.
Okay, we need to have that, what's that?
There are some,
Yeah, it's not an option, they
It's not
need
an
to do
option.
it, so I think you're gonna have to hold the live check.
And for ADP turnover, it's gotta happen.
Yeah, there's no more live checks, so if they wanna get paid, they have to do direct deposit.
So the next check is...
They were given 90 days notice, or 60 days notice.
I think that's it for me. In the interest of time, Jim, it's your turn.
I had a couple of things. One was just notification, basically, that the Environmental Commission is going to take advertising out in the Greenwich Gazette, advertising the fact that they have grants available for cleanup. So I wanted to let everyone know. I don't know if that requires any kind of motion or anything.
Jim, are we going to look at the leaf and start doing, maybe we should start thinking about putting a bid out for leaf pickup with using some of our grant money?
Yeah.
But we would need to prepare some sort of bid for which one of the collectors would be, doing that, so that we could start getting more.
I gave the Environmental Commission, we haven't met.
Okay.
We're going to meet next Tuesday. It falls odd this month.
So,
but we gave them a couple of ideas, and wanted
good.
them to kind of figure out what they could do with those dollars.
Excellent.
Okay? One of them was this cleanup thing, and they wanted to advertise it in the Greenwich Gazette. And actually, one of the...
Should go in the newsletter, too, I think.
Okay.
Okay?
I will mention that to them.
Let's make the newsletter more important than the Greenwich Gazette.
Okay. Late fees. I know Bob has left, but I saw some Toshiba stuff here. And, just in these two, we're paying like about $150 in late fees. So I kind of want to revisit this. And I don't know if Frank had this or if Bob had this. But why are we paying all the late fees? Okay.
Their contract has to say whether or not we're required to pay late fees. If their contract doesn't say it, then we shouldn't be paying it.
But, the bottom line is, we can't be paying late fees all the time, every month, January.
It's happened on the police lease vehicles, too. We encountered that.
Hello.
Okay, so we need to find out when the term of the payment is due, and
I
have
really,
it readjusted so that it meets...
If Toshiba's going to do this, then I think we need to reevaluate their contract. And I do not want to approve these things tonight.
Okay.
All right? Let's kick it back to them. Let's figure it out. You're the head honcho?
Jim, can I just ask Lorraine one question? Did you get the lease agreements for the cards? You got them all? Okay, is there any outstanding? I'd like to, if you could give a copy of it, yeah, I'd like to.
And same with Glacial Energy.
Well, Glacial Energy...
Turn off the light.
No.
No, I think
There was an issue with Glacial Energy, and it wasn't paid for a while. So, am I correct in stating that? Yeah.
What was the issue?
So did the attorney write to them about the issue?
we did not have a contract with them. The rates are considered at-will rates. The rate tripled in a 1 month period from one billing cycle to the next.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who did Glacial? Was this from my time?
This is
Oh, wait,
Grace
oh, no.
Brennan Wu.
Me. We need to revisit this then. If their rates are tripling,
But that means that means that the contract expired and they're doing whatever they feel like doing now. Is that what you're telling me?
I did look back to last year's billings too. There was a fluctuation. Almost how JCP&L has a winter rate and a summer rate.
Mhm.
It looks like they do as well, but it's a significant.
All right, so their contract needs to be pulled out and reviewed by Frank Tadeo, because if we're not under contract with them, they don't have the right to just go ahead and put the rate in without having discussion or further contract negotiations with the governing body.
who's going to pick up the phone tomorrow and get on Glacial? You?
Sure, why not?
I
So-
just want to make sure either we're under a contract. So I remember this woman when she first
I will
brought this
request them
in,
to
and it was
forward me
all
the
rosy.
contract. I wasn't a part of this was crazy.
Yeah.
But the contract, if it expired, Frank needs to look at it and see what our real requirements are. We may not, because if they don't have it,
Yeah.
but if they don't have a contract, we may not be required to pay it.
And we can, that's right, so that's regarding the late fee.
Yeah, exactly.
If we look
Well,
at the
that-
overall contract, we can flip this back over to JCP and let it, and probably stay.
Exactly.
Yeah, and when we, just so you know, we discussed, Lorraine, we've discussed this before. Any late fees on invoices, just deduct it. We don't pay late fees. We're a public entity, it's not statute, it's not legal. So just any late fees on any contract, on any bill, anywhere, you just deduct it. And we pay not the bill amount, it's less late fees. They can't charge us late fees. They can't enforce it. So
Have we done a resolution on this?
we did.
Mm-hmm.
This was a team effort, and I think we just missed some
All right.
things here, because I did some things, and it's consistent, so it wasn't just the rain, so good catch on you guys. You got us. You screwed it up. Yeah, we didn't catch when we were doing the purchase order.
Both of these things are things that I brought in.
Okay.
Do you have enough now, Joe? What's next?
The I hear you, over encumbered account for South Warren Regional Alliance match. What does that mean? Yeah,
Yeah, it says unencumbered account.
I didn't know what to do. Next walk-on
Was it
item.
a one-step?
It's a one-step.
Was it a
It's a
one-step?
one-step.
A one-step.
No
The
requisition,
process.
it went direct to PO.
It's a direct to PO.
I call it a one-step.
All right, so while you're looking into that, so the purge documentation clutter and identify assets for sale. I put this letter out to all department heads, with the help of Kimberly here. And I wanted you to give a brief update. So I'll just read the top line here. As discussed at the April 3rd Township Committee meeting, we'll be consolidating offices within the township and selling off assets, including the current police trailer and any unused office furniture and heavy equipment, i.e. DPW, police. If there's stuff that's sitting out in our parking lot, taking up space, we want to, and it's no longer useful to us, we want to move it out of here.
And the storage units.
And the storage, and off-site storage. Very
Yep.
good point. The intent of this process is to increase the amount of space that we have on the municipal property. So we put this out there beginning of April. It was due May 2nd. So I wanted to get an update as to where we're at and kind of give a kind of feel for what kind of volumes we're talking about. And I know I'm putting you on the spot, but
That's quite all right.
if you have
Okay.
something to report.
Police Department, the chief has provided me with a listing of items, vehicles, and
Right, we
some
worked on that.
equipment. So we're working on that. DPW has provided me with a list of some things. I'm working with Frank Tadeo on putting together the legal advertisement that we're going to go out to, that we're going to go out to bid. The Township Committee needs to, once we do this, review this and settle on some items that you might want to have a minimum bid.
Are you taking
Minimum bid.
photographs as you're seeing these items so that you won't have to take photographs, tagging them at the same time? This way we can have a
Because
board
there's going
full.
to be some more things,
Yeah.
because once we consolidate the police over with here, there's some other items that we had discussed that are going to be being sold.
Correct.
As with office furniture and things like that.
Correct.
So, once we get this all listed, then it'll be tagged and photographed, and Frank and I will do the notice, and then we'll go out to bid for these, for sealed bids for the miniature.
Okay. What about files?
Records retention?
Records retention.
Okay, the company came in and they said that, I don't know our company, they were a little, they came in and they said that they would, they can do microfilming and things, but we pretty much have to gather everything and do everything and label everything and, you know.
So this is the AccuScale, right?
Mhm.
So their quote was about $12,000.
Yes.
What do we get for that? Does that mean you have to go do
Yes.
everything?
Yes, we have a lot. I still want to go through with Mike Finelli downstairs in the file room, the planning board, maps and all of that. Mike can take a look at that, he'll know right away which ones are keepers and which ones...
So that you have
Exactly, so, I mean, Mike and I can clear all that out. The court has, you know...
We're
pretty
doing
much
the
cleared
right thing,
things.
Mike.
So we're just looking now on... Mhm.
So when can we have Michael?
Before the next meeting, we'll have an update and we'll go through things. We have,
You're not the one who
we'll go
wants to
through, we'll go through that with the file room.
You know, it's only Brent
We'll do all
Carney
of
is
that.
away.
I still have to sit down and meet with Tom and you to devise the workstation for the police department, how we're gonna do that. And since I just brought that up, we have an issue with the police department with the move of, you know, the trailer over there. Police department has filed a complaint with Piosha, and Piosha was here today for an inspection.
The OSHA?
Piosha's from the state of
It's not OSHA, it's the...
Yeah, it's the same thing that the fire department did back in the day when we had installed a filter.
Well, they put the thing in there. So, they had said that there was mold down there, that there was ventilation issues and things like that. So we went through everything, and there is no mold. That was calcium that had gone on the walls. So that's been remediated, and DPW took care of that. The carpets, they've all been ripped up, and wasn't an issue of mold underneath them, because there was no padding, and they had been chemically treated, but we ripped up all the carpet and replaced the new carpet. I had a contractor that was going to, there's some vents that are down there, and they don't pipe out, they pipe up into the wall. I was going to have the vendor come in and do it for probably around $2,000 to $3,000 was the quote, the approximate quote that he was going to do. But since my meeting with Yosh today, we talked about an air exchange. Was that it? Now you can take it from there.
Yeah. Kim called me up this afternoon, and we ended up having a impromptu conference call, Kim, myself, and the HVAC contractor, because they're obviously into some specialty stuff. And knowing that this was going to be brought up tonight, my questions to him were around, like, just a budget number to look at this thing moving forward, whether we were going to be under the bid threshold, whether we were going to be under the quote threshold, etc. It appears that based upon what Kim relayed to him as far as what their observations, I'll call it that, what their observations, results, findings were, that we're in this 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 maybe. I mean, that's very rough number, but clearly well under the bid threshold. I mean, so that being the case, you just have to put together, in essence, a quote solicitation to send out to get some quotes, and then you don't have to go through all the whole bid process, which of course gets very expensive.
Yes.
No, that's
So you're doing
basically
Pisano,
the solicitation.
So,
you're doing Pisano and who else?
And this
Who else?
the capital
I'll call
improvements?
HT Lions.
Right.
I need to. But you have to authorize Mike to prepare
All right, so
make sure that
put that on your question
We need
list.
to authorize Mike to...
you need to authorize Mike to
do an
prepare the quotes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Comment. Roll call.
Bailey's. Emiliani.
Yes.
Adams.
Yes.
Quarry.
Yes.
Torello.
Yes.
Are there any
And
other
when-
comments Piosha made?
Let's just go for him.
Okay, there was issues with, with the actual building itself, with the air situation. And then they went through, they were going through what type of logs we keep. There's some issues down in the police department with some chemicals, some of the training that needs to have logs on. There's things, a form that I'm going to need to supply to them on
To them,
our
to
workers'
Piosha
comp.
or to the police
Piosha,
department?
on workers' comp.
Okay.
Our last 3 years' records of workers' comp,
Okay.
which I'm going to get from the
What are the
insurance
line
company.
items, what's the punch list items for the PD?
The
Logbooks?
chemicals,
What chemicals are we talking about?
the chemicals that are down in,
Cleaning
the
chemicals or?
chemicals that are down in the room, that middle room there, that you clean
You
the
know what,
guns with.
why don't you give him a list rather than doing
Yeah,
this, and I'll do this offline, but,
Yeah,
you
why
know,
don't
you have
Do you have a
to...
list? You have a list that they gave you?
Okay, so
So hang on. I don't understand the chemical issue. We use chemicals to clean guns.
The solvent, right?
And this is an issue, or this is not an issue?
Well, it depends on
What is an issue is, what is an issue is the
logs.
fact, like in the DPW, they have chemicals out there. All the chemicals have to have labels
no
on them, and we
labels.
have to keep...
Keep logs of
we
the
have to keep a
chemicals.
sheet on them under right to
All
know,
of-
as,
okay,
right
this
to
is all
know
of a
as to what
sudden
kind
as
of
of-
chemicals we have.
This is all of a sudden now.
It's
Well,
not
because
all of a
They came
sudden.
in with an inspection today, and then they were going through everything, and saw that...
Exactly.
These records were not there, and that we don't, we
So
have
the
chemicals
complaint was
that are
filed, and
legal.
now we have more things to get done.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll get into it.
So if you could just get Tom the punch list, so he could follow up with the police chief,
Yeah.
so that the police department can become compliant with the way
Well,
things are
she
stored.
informed that she will be submitting
A report?
a
gonna be a
violations.
formal list.
We're going to be getting a violations letter today,
Okay.
and with a timeframe of compliance and things of that nature.
But I'd like to be able to be knocking out that punch list subsequently while we're getting...
Well, exactly, that's why
I'd like
we're
to say,
working-
once we get the punch,
The
we say,
biggest,
this
the
is,
biggest
this
thing
has
we're
been
working on
done.
right
The
now
biggest thing
is
is
the
the
air
HVAC.
exchange, yeah, the HVAC. Yeah. So some of the other things that were,
And
alleged...
outside of that, we really have
alleged as
nothing.
complaints were unfounded.
Unfounded, okay. Okay.
Angela?
Or
Is
is
that
Jim
it?
done with Jim servers, desktops, training?
I had a follow-up on lease agreements. Wanted to know, did we bring that to conclusion? Do you have a copy of all the lease agreements?
You said there are none.
There's no current. I have a copy of the most recent one that was paid off last year. that I'm-
Do we have any agreements with our people where we do repairs, where we get the cars serviced? Do we have anything like that?
No.
You
No?
just use it, right? You
We
use
just-
it.
we just- Keep going to the same people all the time? Okay.
You still wanna do that?
We should, Elaine, I know we haven't had these discussions yet,
No.
but we have in part. All of...
Was I
now that we're-
coherent?
Well, no, now that we're through the whole adoption of the bill pay ordinance, all of the one-steps, so to speak,
Yes.
need to go out to bid.
Excuse me?
No, they can't possibly. You're talking one steps
Steps to
have...
go out to bid.
All of
Okay, so are you saying like
let me
office
requalify.
supplies, are you saying office supplies, car repair, and things where we're
Uniform
paying the vendor,
cleaning.
like if we paid the vendor,
Those type of things.
let's just say XYZ car repair
Yeah, you're not
company,
talking about
and we paid
utilities and
$25,000.
telephone. Those are one steps.
Then we have to go
I'm
out
sorry,
to bid.
just so you know, we've already worked on a couple of those. Chief has already gone out and done the uniform stuff, and that's taken care of. We're getting the best deal for the service that we're getting on uniforms for now.
Good.
That was just recently done last month. And some other items.
Well, if you have reports on that, Tom, can we see that?
Yeah, I'll give them to you.
Okay. Oh, you got...
Yeah, I got the quotes and everything.
Oh, okay, that's what I was looking for.
What is the cap on the
I was going to
things?
say, anything over $2,625 that we're going to spend on that type of commodity in the annual growth.
Annual growth.
Mhm.
So car
We
repairs
should be
would
going
be...
out for formal quotes anyway.
How much?
$2,625. If it's under that, you can get informal quotes.
Yeah, let's,
If it's over $2,625,
Car and vehicle repairs fall under that.
Without a doubt.
As far as office supplies go, we purchase a lot from from Staples, the state contract options.
So you're okay.
Good thing, yeah.
Correct.
And so both you and Kim have been doing that?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Haven't done much shopping lately.
Yeah.
I need to.
Well, I wouldn't be pushing
No,
it.
we need it. No, we need supplies.
Okay.
That's bad for business fund.
And I think for the technology piece, for technology, I'd like to get with yourself and Chief Hummer before next Tuesday, We're going to finalize all of the technology
Hold on, it might be in the-
items that
Might be in your
time
box.
was
I couldn't reach my box.
speed, the license plate reader thing. We have Cody already identified
I like my other ones better.
on some quotes from Jewel. So I could share with you what we already have that he's identified. And Jewel went out and did an inventory of all the technology issues, including Cody's system. Okay? So I have some, I don't have them all. So maybe the three of us can get together and...
What day? You said before next Tuesday?
You guys can do this offline, right?
Yeah.
There's no action for the township committee, no motion?
Nope.
All right, is there anything else?
No.
Okay. Angela?
Okay, Economic Development Commission, we have an appointment set up for Tuesday for Noel McGuire of the Business Action Center to meet with Polaris Properties, which is over here on 519, to look over that property. And he's going to put it on his hot list to see if he can get someone to fill up that property.
At one time, Polaris wanted the township to rent that building from him as our township building, just so you know. That's the historical part of that.
Yeah, way back.
Are you, Mike, are you going to be at that meeting too? Did you find text that I could be there?
There's still a potential conflict, which I think
I
is
might-
probably going to go away, and I mentioned it to Angela before the meeting.
That's what I have a penciled in meeting, but
That's
I
Tuesday.
might,
The 20th?
Whatever, is that the 20th?
Tuesday the 20th at 10 o'clock at the 519 building.
Right. So, that was good. Also, I went to the last county economic meeting, and they had an interesting guy there from the state, Mike Choback, from Choose, New Jersey, and he went over the whole program and what they're doing at the state level to get new business in, and you'll have a packet on that. And we've gotten quite a bit of business since this new bill passed. A lot of companies that they've gotten in, Forbes is one of them, and quite a few large companies. You're doing, you see New York advertising on TV and all. They're doing it a much smarter way because, obviously New Jersey doesn't have the money to do this advertising on TV, so they're going right to the businesses themselves and doing it a much smarter way. And he was previously with Texas. He's from here, but he worked for the Economic Commission in Texas, and so he knows. He's very good. There's actually a mobile app that you can get from Choose New Jersey, and you can find out all this.
Where is Choose New Jersey?
Well, it's an app.
It's not the name of the town? It's not the name of the town, it's called Choose New Jersey?
Choose New Jersey, that's
Okay.
That's the program.
Okay, that's the program, okay.
Yeah. So, in any case, he gave a very nice presentation, and he went over the program. So, we are, basically, Phillipsburg has the highest qualification in this area, and then we have the next highest. And most of the rest of the county doesn't really qualify, but basically, Phillipsburg is a draw, and we also are the draw. And they gain from what this program does for that house. So they were interested from that standpoint. And there's other things. There's other things from the program that benefit them.
Well, will they also, because we have that potential property out off of 173 where there is future development sites, if the landowner just hasn't chosen to move forward with plans on that parcel of property that's across from Muller Chevrolet, but that's one of the biggest areas that will be developed come in the future.
Right. This particular doesn't. There's a small benefit on this, but the biggest one is the area up on 22 and 519, but it actually borders on Phillipsburg.
Okay.
But there's a
I
small
see why
benefit
it's
to that. And there's also other parts where you can, certain types of businesses, transportation, tax businesses, to get other bonuses. But the closest to Phillipsburg really gets most of it. But there's some nice other ways to, this doesn't include retail, it's also basically for manufacturing, mostly to get more employees.
More employees, larger base warehousing employees for distribution purposes.
Right.
Okay.
So basically that's it. Prescription drop, basically, the chief tells me that the DEA is hot on getting these boxes in there. Phillipsburg now has a box. They have one over at Hope at the State Police Barracks. And I understand they're going to be coming over, and you want to tell us to take another look. They may drop the need for the video.
They might lessen their requirements, replace the box building. The DEA agent is charged with whatever comes to establish here
And again, if you notice in the paper, there's an awful lot about this problem in this area. It's really something that's needed. This is really an opportunity for us to stand out for something that's good for the kids and for the seniors.
Would there be an officer assigned to this, like we have a DARE officer, or, I mean, is that how that's going to be set up in your mind? Okay.
And the next thing,
I had a question. Is this going to impede any way the move of the police?
The what?
No.
The move of the police department?
It's in the hallway right now, so
Having it there, is that creating an issue?
Shouldn't.
no, right now, no, the only issue was if we had to
Put a video
establish
camera.
another, well, I don't want to.
Exactly, you don't want to go into detail.
I'll talk to you later about it if you'd like, but right now, it's there. It's just not being utilized.
and actually they are advertising that we have it. We have it. It's basically what I said. If it's not in your town, people are not going to be coming, from other towns.
So they're advertising, if someone were to read that and bring some prescription drugs here, are we prepared to take them?
No.
We'd have to turn them away.
Somehow the advertisement got out there, it wasn't through us, so whoever put this advertisement out, whether it's in the county or whatnot.
It was the county.
It was the people who supplied the box.
They were being very anxious.
They told the DEA and said, what agencies, what locations got boxed, and they just went off that without confirming with our agencies. So, that's why that.
So what are you going to just reroute them to somewhere else? Someone else?
The other location, Belvedere.
In Phillipsburg?
I wasn't there.
Yeah, Phillipsburg now has a box. Okay, so the next thing is, actually, it's Little Egg Harbor. Actually, I heard about this on TV. Little Egg Harbor has a big problem with litter with the newspapers, and basically they have foreclosures just like we do, every other town does. And when they deliver papers, and especially these free papers, nobody picks them up. And then you get 2 papers and 3 papers or whatever, and they just end up laying there, and no one really cares. People deliver them, they just keep delivering them, and it gets to a big litter problem. So it was on the news, and what they're doing is they're setting up an ordinance that the newspapers will actually be charged $1,000.
Oh, I like it. It sounds like a sign ordinance to me.
Well, just to clarify, there's First Amendment issues, and most of these ordinances have not survived litigation. The reason that the Little Egg Harbor, and you're right, it is Little Egg, not Egg Harbor, because they're different. And I went on their website, and it's not particularly user-friendly, and the ordinances are not accessible, and because I tried to get a copy of it. But the reason that this is getting some attention is they've taken a fresh approach recognizing the legal challenges of other ordinances, because you cannot ban the dissemination of newspapers. That prima facie is violative of First Amendment. So what they did was they created a registration mechanism. So it's kind of like a do not call list where residents can then provide their address, and then if they're on the address and the newspaper delivers at that point in time, the fine kicks in. So it's an interesting concept, and I could tell you, for one, I'm tired of going down the end of my driveway and throwing out the freebies. I love the idea, Angelo.
We're going to vote on it, I think, next week.
We'll get a copy of the ordinance, and let's see how,
Get a copy of it, man.
yeah, let's see how strong it is, and if it isn't strong, we'll make it stronger.
I mean, yeah, we should give it a try, and
I like it.
Do you want a copy of the ordinance? I can get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please, can you give
All
that
right,
to the
at
league?
Harbor Township?
Yeah. And then maybe get a copy to, get a copy and see if we can.
I'll give it to the township, and I'll give it to Frank.
Yeah, let's do that and see if we can do something like that. And then we can capture on our website, we could provide a spot for registration where people can register to say that they don't want it.
I like it, and the webmaster will just...
Yeah, it's a good idea.
The thing is, it's really, we end up getting the Hunterdon paper, and I don't know, a couple times we tried to cancel it, and for some reason,
It's free, they drop it.
Every
it's
Thursday.
such a
Yeah,
waste
it's
of paper.
free, they just drop it.
Yeah, you get 3 papers to say that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, I don't, we don't need it.
Yeah,
That's it.
I like it.
Michael?
You want to introduce our substitute attorney?
Yeah, for those folks who haven't met Carl Taylor tonight, who's Frank.
You're that far down on the list, Carl, I'm sorry.
That's okay, so is Frank, so.
Governor, I'll report back to Frank. I'm taking notes, so thanks for
Okay.
that, Mr. Root.
I do have a walk-on.
Oh, okay. And I do too, that I forgot.
Yeah. Prior services for computer support. I want to do a motion so that we can get this processed after the meeting. I got from 2011, 2012, 2013, those components should be billed to the 2013 budget. And I also have a small component. You know what? I want to take the 2014 and let's include this under the service contract that we have in the capital.
For the 20,000, okay.
All right. So we'll have to change this dollar amount here, but
Downward.
downward, yes. So overall, over those last 3 years, it was $11,110. We have a preferred discount. I believe that's tied in with Kendra work and also getting the professional services contract. We're down to $8,360 minus 2014, it's 36 hours. So whatever that amounts to.
I think that some of this, just to explain to the public, that some of these calls made to the provider were unknown to the clerk, and the clerk was the one should have been keeping the maintenance hours whereby we have our agreements. And when random phone calls are made and neither the department nor the provider were, actually telling the clerk what was going on, things like this get away, and this can't happen any longer. 3 years worth of billing coming to fruition and finding out that folks were calling them without your knowledge needs to stop.
And I'd like to do this.
And we're
Do these
just being
vendors
charged
know
up
not to
to-
accept phone calls other than...
I want it
It's going
prorated
to go down.
against the other departments' technology budgets that they have.
Well, if there's, in 2013,
So Jeff knows not to field calls and certain people have to go through Ken?
Yes.
Jeff needs to
Yeah.
get approval from Kim, not the
yeah,
phone
I will,
calls.
I'll
That's
break
what Jeff
out
needs to do.
the hours with the rate and break it out between the police and the different municipal offices.
Usually your account
So
codes, you
then
build
you
a separate
can
account,
charge
right?
back to 13.
Not just a general bill.
Yeah.
So
Figure out
this
how we're
particular bill will be added to the bill list in addition to the refund that we're giving, which We already read the number into the,
Yeah.
into the
we did
record,
that.
so
Yeah. Well,
we
this
need
will
to
be
make a
another-
motion on 8,000, whatever, Jim.
Yeah.
No, it's going to be six.
Well, it's not to exceed
Just put not to
8,000.
exceed,
Yeah.
so this way what
Okay.
he has.
So it's really just a motion to pay Dual Computing for 2011, 12, and 13 services to be charged to the appropriate control
Departments.
accounts for Kim and Lorraine, not to exceed $8,000.
I'll make the motion.
And against 2013 budget. I will second.
Comment. Roll call.
Bailey's? Miliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Laurie?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes.
I just have one real quick
Is there a
item.
memo going out to each department so that they need to
I
contact
will
you?
let them know.
Okay.
Yes.
In
Memorial Day
written
parade.
form. Yes.
Rita's for the coupons. Can I have a motion authorizing the payment to Rita's not to exceed $150 for the coupons for the bike decorating contest?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Comment. Roll call.
Bailey's?
Yes.
Miliani?
Yes.
Adams? Valori?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes.
Okay, so not to exceed 150.
I recall that in January we made, I don't know if we passed a resolution, we made a statement, we're going to send letters out to the department saying no professional services.
We did.
We did.
But this is old stuff, so they need...
No, I know, but I mean, I'll just make sure that it's
It was done.
reiterated in this.
It needs to be resent, I
But
think.
we did do that.
We did
Yes,
do
we
that.
did that.
Just before, when Lorraine had gave me tonight a cash management master agreement from TD Bank, looking, I guess, for me to sign to give you authorization for online access, right? To the TD account, so,
Did you by any chance approach TD to get them to waive the fees for credit card for court?
I was working on that.
did you have a conversation?
I put a call in, I went to the branch and actually spoke with the guy. He emailed the girl, and we haven't hooked up together.
Okay, so
But
can the three
I'm
of you
looking for
talk
TD
about...
Bank, but more so, if you go out to different places like Wawa and things, you don't really see TD Bank vending machines, those machines.
Yeah, but that's not
You
so
see
much what we're
PNC.
talking about. Let's see if they can waive those costs. We talked about that, and then we talk about the cash vending machine.
Yeah, well, there was two components to that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So there's been, since then, nothing really
Yeah, I mean,
finalized?
yeah.
Okay.
So, should I hold off on this?
No.
No, that's for Lorraine
Allow her
to
to go
sign.
online and then
And
do
do
banking.
banking.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't want to
Yes.
condition
You need...
the account with, all right, we can always move it, so
Mhm.
that's fine. So then I can have a motion authorizing me to sign this.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Comment? Roll call?
Bailey's? Miliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Laurie?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes.
Lorraine, I would just ask that you make that conversation about seeing if we could get those credit cards at no charge. I mean, I just want somebody to say it's okay, because it's been done in the past. And Kim will work on the cash machine thing, what we talked about.
Okay, Angela, you're finished, right? Is there any, so can I have a motion to open up for public, meeting for public comment?
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, sorry, Michael.
I know I interjected.
I'm sorry, Michael.
Maybe that was the report, Michael.
I apologize.
That's okay. No apology necessary.
Go for it.
I need a sugar hit.
Go for it.
This can be very quick. On a number of the items we already discussed. There are two things. One is in report, one is not. I received a phone call message from the new EPA rep representing or involved with the OU2 project, who is replacing Teresa Wilka, who is left on
Maternity
maternity leave. The bottom line is she wanted an update on the staging area of the city. If you recall, the staging area was left with Bob Knase and really nothing, to my knowledge, has gone on with it that I'm aware of. So I didn't respond because this call came in just maybe Tuesday.
We chose the stadium.
No, we did not. What we told them at, no, what we told them at the meeting was we would provide a staging area.
Yeah.
And that they didn't have to worry about securing a private, and that's all we told them at that point.
offered up a
Yeah, we never
property.
picked the spot, and they have to actually approve the spot.
Right. they have to
Bob
do some-
suggested the property.
Yeah, I
This goes back to the deliverables. Let's have, this is, honestly, we really don't need to spend, I think, a lot of time on this because there's only 2 properties. And we have Bob, who is looking at the one. He either needs to be able to resolve those, confirm, or if not, that necessarily means it's the other property. There's really there's nothing else to discuss. It's A or B, right? It really is that simple. We'd like it to be the first property.
first property.
And if it can, it can't. So, but I think we need to maybe make a motion to just authorize you to follow up with Bob, give him a deadline by next week. He's got to make the decision, and then you can either advise them A or B, and we don't have to see this on the agenda anymore. It's done.
fine.
And we can just authorize Mike to do what he needs to do to
Correct.
meet the minimum
Correct. So,
requirements required by the state of New Jersey.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Comment, roll call.
Bailey?
Yes.
Miliani?
Yes.
Adams?
Yes.
Laurie?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes.
Okay, last thing. This is not on my agenda because it's in my report. It just came up. I was contacted by Brian Appisato from the county, who is a member of the planning department. But the county...
He gets around, doesn't he?
Yeah. The county is trying to petition the DOT to rekindle their efforts towards the improvement of the Route 22, 519 intersection. So he sent me an email, and he said, Mike, do you think Greenwich would be able to give me a letter of support? The letter of support is as simple as we take no exception to the DOT initiating progress on the design of a retrofitted intersection for 25 or something to that effect.
Mike, how long is it since we've seen the design?
Well,
These governing officials don't know what the design is, so...
Is there an overpass or no overpass?
no, there's no.
No, it's a
Tunnel?
joke.
So...
Isn't it a recycling of an old...
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But they want to try and get it back on the
Radar.
TPA's radar and therefore allow it to be considered for funding. The reality is, what's it, 2014?
2003?
2025. It
started in 3.
So it's almost like comical. So, here's my, how about I draft a quickie letter for the mayor's signature. If you're comfortable with supporting this, all it is just to initiate the consideration to pursue the project again.
But when you say the project, I don't know what the project is.
Exactly, that's what I'm
So,
saying.
then I can't support it.
So,
Can somebody...
if we give you a memo, we'll give you something that says...
I need to,
we want
I
request
need to
what
see
the-
it.
need to know if my name is going on, I need to know what I'm supporting.
What the
There's
design.
nothing, no one will be able to give you that information, not to be, because it is just the initial stages of evaluation for a proposed.
Then that's what I would, then that's what the letter says.
Okay.
The letter should acknowledge that we support a process to develop a plan.
To
But we
develop it.
cannot support a particular plan if we don't know what the plan is.
Okay. So this was a semantical.
Yeah, I can't remember how far back that goes.
That I could sign.
How about this? We'll make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign a letter of support that I will ghostwrite for him. I will obviously circulate it to all of you. You can confirm that it's a wonderful letter, and
Which I have no doubt it
if
will be.
everybody's on, Joe's on board with signing it, he signs it, and we can send it to the county.
Perfect.
I like
Is that a
it.
good motion? Okay.
Somebody
I'll
want to
make the motion.
Second? Comment? Roll call?
Bailey? Miliani? Yes. Adams?
Yes.
Laurie?
Yes.
Freeland?
Yes.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, now, motion to open up the meeting for second public comment?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Anyone wishing to make public comment, please come up to the podium.
Terry Hill, 529 North Main Street. Resolution that you passed this evening, Mr. Adams brought up for the, I'm sorry, it was actually the CFO, providing funding for information technology infrastructure, time management improvements, appropriating $20,000 for the budget. But the budget itself actually listed as $29,400. $29,400 or $20,000?
Close to that number, 29, like 26 cents. What was on the top?
It's separate.
In the budget is the appropriation for that line item. That bottom one is
Is included in there.
Right.
So that's why it's higher in the budget line item, yeah.
There was discussion about the water and air testing with regards to the asphalt. While it may sound like a good idea, by just Greenwich Township doing this water and air quality testing, will that actually enable them, it does get challenged to say, well, none of the neighboring towns did those tests as well. So are they going to be actually, or will they be able to challenge our tests?
Greenwich is really the only neighboring town though, right?
Or is it not really able by contact? So
They're not going to do the testing, are they?
I don't think they're going to.
Exactly, and that's what I'm afraid will happen is because they won't have a sample of an increase, or a decrease in air quality or water quality. Local Hakon, are they going to be able to fight our test? Are we basically going to waste more money on the asphalt by doing this test? Because will they actually be able to fight it and say, your tests are no good because none of the other towns did it, so we can't say it was just the asphalt plant that inhibited the quality of air versus what? Just quote, it's not really going to be a relatively expensive testing process, especially if it's
All this is a proposal, Gary. This is just to see what it will cost, whether it's $5,000 or $55,000, test or study.
just, again, something else to think about before we get into that.
Any other comments? Seeing no hands, a motion to close public comment?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
I have one comment for Mike. Mike,
Okay.
you think we could ask the county to also do the air quality testing? Think we could talk to the county about it?
Well,
At least the air, the water, we can
Public
talk.
Works Director who would know
We can
whether or
reach out to
not
them.
they have those, type of testing.
And maybe
This is an aside.
and maybe we have Aqua provide a water sample as well.
Isn't this part of the health?
Well, no, it would be
in
awful, because you need to get a groundwater sample.
I understand, I see, in its natural state, not...
They do them automatically on a periodic basis?
The aquifers underneath.
Okay, all right.
Do they do this periodically, Mike?
It's,
Get covered under?
we're 20 minutes over. Huh?
Yep.
Is any, we don't have to discuss any old business, new
Old
business.
business
but-
I already did. I just want to make sure that the children at play and speed signs were actually put up on Jackson. Do you know?
I thought that was not.
I don't know, I haven't heard that they are.
Can we add that to the flow chart in a few days?
February?
Yeah, well, that was really out of my court, that was...
Yeah, that was the chief.
That was, no, that wasn't the DPW, they had to get the sign.
The speed.
Yeah, but the chief had to decide where they were going.
I don't think they are, because
I think she stopped it, or the,
No, she stopped the trailer going in with the speed, but where did the signs, children at play, and the speed signs that we ordered for Jackson, Chief's here, did they go up? Are they installed?
I sent, actually, Mike had sent me an email, or your secretary sent me an email about the placement of those, and I said, yeah, that's fine. And,
Yeah, that's right. He did give us the okay. Oh, that's a while ago.
yes.
It was with John to order the signs, basically.
I just,
Hey, John,
we just signed.
John?
I'll follow up.
Yeah, we just signed tonight.
Okay.
I'll follow
Yeah,
up.
he was gonna get them and put them in.
Okay.
So hopefully it's done.
Actually, if you look at those purchase orders
Yeah.
for the sign man, I think I paid for them already, because I think
They're pretty inexpensive.
installed.
$25.
Look at the purchase order for the sign man.
Yeah.
Angela, can you check and see,
Frankie said he didn't
and
see
then
them.
just shoot me an email? Because we may be talking about, we may be wasting time talking about
I
it.
signed off on it.
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn, please?
I'll make the motion.
Second? I have a comment. All in favor? All those in favor?
Wait, wait.
Aye.
I don't know how to call it, German.